Hello, everyone. This is APO Sports, and it happened. It happened. I did not think that it was gonna happen this season or during this off season, but hey, this new front office is not playing around. So the way that it was, the news came out, it was that Christie Sides and the Indiana Fever have parted ways, and another way to say that is that Christie Sides was fired. Right. We had some indicators, but not a lot leading up to these news that we received yesterday, I believe. Um, the press conference with the new Fever president, you know, there was a little bit of praise there for the work that Christie Size had done, and it almost sounded like somewhat of an endorsement, although it really didn't sound like a strong endorsement, but it was a bit of an endorsement nonetheless. But it wasn't like a strong, yeah, we have all the confidence in the world in Christie Size. She's gonna get us to the next level. It was nothing like that, but um, it didn't appear based on what was said that she was gonna get fired. But circumstances being what they are, they changed. And then Stephanie White becoming available changed everything, right? And in my opinion, based on, this is the only season that I have followed the WNBA, and I tend to like to analyze head coaches and everything like that. And based on every coach and every team that I saw, I was most impressed with Stephanie White. I really was. She stood out. She stood out even above Becky Hammond to me. I saw something in her, and the way that she was managing the Connecticut Sun. That Connecticut Sun team was not good, and not good at all. So now, of course, I'm speculating that Stephanie White is going to be, the hiring or the next coach of the Indiana Fever, but it just makes too much sense, right? It just absolutely does. But back to Christie's side. So I actually think that if the Fever didn't already know or didn't already have who their next coach was going to be, they were not going to pull the trigger on Christie's sides. I don't think so, especially right now. If you look at the pool of coaches available, none of them were really worth firing Christie's sides over. At this point, you were like, all right, but whoever's out there, uh, yeah, are they gonna do? Are we know? Do we know for sure that these coaches are gonna do a better job than Christie Sides? And probably yes. I mean, the answer probably yes, but that much better, like to get us to where we need to go. Maybe there was maybe speculation or not enough confidence that would happen. But with Stephanie White becoming available, that just changes things, right? Like right now, if me, based on my assessment, she's the best head coach in the WNBA, you have to take advantage of that. Like, when's the next time that someone like Stephanie White is going to become available? Not only that, but all the ties that she has to Indiana, to the Indiana Fever, having been a player there before between 2000 and 2004, then being an assistant coach there from 2010 to 2014, and then winning a title with the Indiana Fever in 2012 as an assistant coach. And then her first year as a head coach was also with the Indiana Fever in 2015 and took that team to the WNBA finals. So, I mean, it just makes too much sense. And then we get even more information about all the other connections that she has to Indiana, right? She went to Purdue. She was Miss, Indiana in high school. It's just too much, right? And she also seems to have a good connection, a good relationship with the current um, Indiana Fever front office, including Lynn Dunn, right? Because I believe, well, no, she didn't replace Lynn Dunn, but they had some sort of relationship in the past. Uh, so I just think that's a slam dunk. And Christie's side. So yeah, I keep going back and forth, but when we discuss Christie's sides, she really wasn't the coach to take this team to the next level. Was she bad? I mean, I don't want to hit a person while they're down, but yeah, I mean, in a sense, she was bad. She's a bad coach. She's a slow learner. It took forever to figure out rotations, substitutions, who her, what her best lineups look like, some transparency, some courage. And there's a lot to learn, right? She has a lot to learn, and she was kind of a roadblock of her own because it seemed like she wasn't taking accountability for the things that she needed to do better, for the things that she needed to improve upon. And that is serious. But I also believe that when she was hired in, last year as the Fever head coach, I mean, yeah, maybe there was a possibility. They thought they could get Kaylin Clark in the next draft, but you can't make coaching decisions based on how the, cards are going to play out. So you hire her for that specific team that really didn't have any aspirations at all whatsoever. They weren't thinking that they needed to make the playoffs. There was somewhat of a 5 to 6 year plan for a rebuild, especially now that you have a Leo Boston. But even with that team without Kaylin Clark, it's just not. There's not a lot of championship aspirations with that team. There just aren't. So Kaylin Clark changes everything, right? So you get hired to coach that team. Now you get Aaliyah Boston and Kaylin Clark, and all of a sudden you have a super team. And you need a coach who's ready to coach that team for championship contention. That's it. That's what it is. So to me, I mean, I support the move. I think it's a smart, courageous move. This front office is impressing me already. Like, I'm a fan. This is amazing. I can't wait till next season to see what next season is going to look like. And then the tweet that Christie Sides had about, it's also weird that her tweet was leave it better than you found it or something like that. And number one, why are you talking about yourself? You know what I mean? You spent 2 years in that organization and your tweet is about you. The assumption that you left an organization better than you found it, and that somehow that you're taking credit for that. I feel the type of way about that. I really do. Especially when we all know that the Fever is in this good shape primarily because of Kaylin Clark and Aaliyah Boston, not Christie Sides. So I didn't like the tweet. Again, this is not for me to unload on her. I mean, here's where I'll give her credit. Although she was doing too little, too late. I give her credit for game 2 against the Sun. That move to pull Nalissa Smith, that took courage. That really took courage. She also appeared to have had a good game plan, and I don't know who came up with that game plan. I don't know whose idea it was, but the game plan to defend the Sun in the way that they did, where they had Kelsey Mitchell pretty much stuck to Mabry the whole entire time, and then Lexi Hull and Bonner, and then don't worry about anything else. That was a really good game plan for that game too. The problem was that it wasn't, I mean, you really haven't had a game plan for most of the season. So players are not used to sticking to a game plan that doesn't exist. So when you have a game plan in game 2, the players are just not used to doing that. So they did abandon their assignment quite a bit. And that's pretty much what burned them at the end when Marina Mabry hit that 3 late in game 2 in the fourth quarter. To me, it was Kelsey Mitchell who abandoned Mabry. You can say that it was Kaylin Clark who abandoned Mabry. It doesn't matter. They abandoned Mabry. She hit the dagger and it was over. But it was a good game plan. And it took courage to remove Nalissa Smith from the starting lineup and go with the lineup that you knew worked. So that is where I can give her credit. But look, it took the end of the season or the last game of the season to get some sense. But that just shows you that she's not a quick learner. How long is she going to take to develop this thing? And then she wasn't really consistent either. So it was a mess. Anyways, I'm not going to get too much into all that. The fact is that the Fever are now in a much better spot. We're going to get that announcement here soon, I'm assuming, with Stephanie White. I just don't know if it happens when they introduce Amber Cox as the general manager or whether they're going to wait till next week to make that announcement for Stephanie White. In my opinion, you have to wait a little bit, just out of respect for Christie Sides, just wait maybe a week before you announce that that Stephanie White is now the Indiana Fever head coach. But all in all, a great move. I'm excited for what next season is going to look like. I am all for it. I commend the new Indiana Fever or management for what they did. They mean business. They're not playing around. They want championships, and they want championships now. And you're going to be competing for championships next year with Stephanie White. I will also be doing a video fully on Stephanie White and her credentials because, like I said, I was extremely impressed with her. Some people look back at her time at Vanderbilt as some sort of a failure, but no, I think, and I'm gonna get into all this because to me, she if we had a coach comparison as far as a successful coach in the NBA, I would compare Stephanie White with Phil Jackson, which is what I think it's exactly what the Fever need. But stay tuned for that video. Maybe here in the next few days, I'll be dropping that. But that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.